Hey everyone, welcome back to the Thinking Crypto channel, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. Well, my friends, it's a very bad day. The Black Swan event that we were hoping would not happen has happened, and that is Russia has invaded Ukraine. And before I go into the market and what's happening, of course, we want to make sure the people of Ukraine, they're in our thoughts and prayers because they're going through a tough situation. And some of you may have seen video clips and photos and things like that coming out of there. So hopefully this thing doesn't get bigger and turn into some massive world war. That is certainly not what we want. And lots of innocent people will lose their lives and so forth. So I want to make sure I say that because I don't want this video to seem like we're being callous and we're not thinking about that. But we live in different countries and we're affected by what's happening in the markets, and we're going to talk about prices and so forth. But obviously life is more important than money and prices and things like that. So guys, if we look at the market right now, obviously all markets are reacting negatively to this news, and the crypto market is seeing a lot of red. One thing though, despite Bitcoin really crashing, if you want to put it that way, it's not a massive crash in a sense that it's not in a downward spiral going to the 20,000s. And look, that could potentially happen in the weeks ahead. I'm not saying it's off the table, but we're not seeing that heavy reaction like we saw with COVID. Remember the COVID panic? That was bad. That was, what was it? The Black Thursday, I think they call it. It was just a steep hill drop, just going downwards, right? So we haven't seen that yet, which is a good sign. And maybe folks are waiting to see, is this just a Russia-Ukraine thing or will it involve others? Because we are hearing rumors of China and Taiwan, and then Iran is saying stuff now. So once again, my hope this thing does not go beyond Russia and Ukraine. That is not what we need. Obviously, once again, a lot of innocent people, and the world would just be turned upside down, right? If you know your history and what happened in World War II and previous wars, that is not something you want to live through and to deal with. But let's talk a bit more about what is happening with the charts. We've been following the blockchain backers Bitcoin fractal, looking at the correction, and it was eerily accurate for over 5 months. Well, it has deviated, and he tweeted out the following this morning. He said, "This is a pretty climactic moment. I'm not a geopolitical expert or capable of solving 5D chess that gets played during wartime situations, but we can look at how the charts are reacting to this. It appears Bitcoin is now deviating from its 5.5-month structure." So here it is. Obviously, we still have to let things play out and see what happens in the next few days, even the coming weeks. But right now it is deviating, and all models, all fractals, all theses are off the table because we have a Black Swan event. Those of you who've been subscribed to the channel, we've talked a lot about this, where Black Swan events, we don't know when they can happen. We knew that this situation could potentially happen, but we didn't see, for example, COVID coming. That's a Black Swan event. And Black Swan events break once again, models, cycles, lines, trend lines, whatever it is, right? They break all those things. And we certainly don't want to have these situations. Now, here's what's happening though, guys, which is very interesting along the lines of crypto CBDCs and payments and SWIFT and so forth. So Ukraine caps cash withdrawals, suspends use of digital wallets. This is interesting. I understand why they capped the money, because obviously people are going to run to the banks to get their cash out of there. They're in panic mode. I don't blame them. I understand what's happening there, right? So that's happening. And then we also see that over $360,000 in Bitcoin has been donated to the Ukraine army in just one day. And I expect that number to increase. So we're seeing people are not able to get cash or get the amount that they would like. And then there's Bitcoin and crypto being used to fund the army. And I'm sure people will move towards crypto as an alternative if they can't get their money out of their banks. Now, Biden, right now, probably still speaking, he has talked about imposing strong sanctions, new limits on Russia. some details here. Every asset Russia has in America will be frozen. So they're going with some very strong sanctions here. Biden says they have sanctioned Russian banks that hold $1 trillion in assets. So, guys, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I am a realist, and I look at facts. I look at narratives. I tweeted about this. Remember, we've been talking for months now. Putin all of a sudden came out in January saying, hey, central bank and finance ministry, start regulating crypto. And Russia has an advantage when it comes to Bitcoin mining. And this came about, let's say, a few weeks after the Russian central bank said they want to ban crypto. So Putin was all of a sudden like, no, that's not going to happen. Let's regulate. So you have this undertone of crypto and CBDCs and SWIFT happening while on top of that, the war, right? The invasion. So something is happening here where I think we're going to see Russia probably use their CBDC and move to more crypto and Bitcoin, excuse me. And then potentially Biden's crypto executive order will counteract this. And that is expected to be seen, within the next few weeks. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I tweeted out the following, guys. Never let a good crisis go to waste. That is a Winston Churchill quote. The undertone to the Russia-Ukraine war is SWIFT, CBDCs, and crypto. I think they will use this situation to usher CBDCs and a move towards crypto. All of these signs are here. Putin was making a push for crypto regulations before the invasion. So this is just my opinion from what I've seen and what we've been covering, guys. We've been talking about facts about what these governments have been doing, specifically Russia. We saw also Ukraine. They passed some crypto regulations to greenlight crypto. So it's interesting these two countries are doing this, and it's probably because they're about to end the SWIFT system. And I also tweeted, in addition to that, the World Economic Forum has been talking about Bretton Woods for years now. That is fact. They've been talking about, the last Bretton Woods happened after World War II, and it went on the gold standard and yada, yada. Well, I think now we're headed to that CBD standard, guys. I think if you just research this and see what they've been saying, what they've been doing, what are all the central banks around the globe doing? Building CBDCs. And obviously, a lot of countries are now greenlighting crypto. Pretty obvious the direction they're heading into. So I said, I think they will use the COVID aftermath, which is massive inflation, money printing, and supply chain issues and so forth. And this World War III potential conflict, if not a World War III scenario, at least a war conflict, to push for the CBDC crypto Bretton Woods system. I think that's what's coming. And once again, it's not my emotions. It's not, I put my tinfoil hat on, but rather, hey, we've been seeing this crap for like so long, right? The narrative being built and people, the government's taking action and moving in this direction. Go look it up. The World Economic Forum has been calling for a new Bretton Woods to fix a lot of the legacy problems we have in our world. And I think they will use this conflict scenario to do that. And I think big part of it is SWIFT, right? That is the antiquated old way of moving money. The new way is on the blockchain, and they're doing it with CBDCs, and that's going to bring in crypto as well, guys. So just my opinion. You may disagree, but let me know if you agree with this. But we've been seeing the movements and the narratives being laid, the foundation for this type of change. And once again, never let a good crisis go to waste. So what does that mean for the crypto market and what we can expect this year? Well, funny enough, guys, the Fed now has its narrative not to raise interest rates. Goldman Sachs, they said, think geopolitical uncertainty further lowers the odds of a 50% BPS hike in March. So I don't think the Fed is raising anything, because you have the inflation, which is already killing wealth. You have this conflict, which is going to add even more pressure on the economy and gas price and so forth. If they raise rates, oh my God, it would be, once again, I said it before, the house of cards will come collapsing down. Even without this conflict, if they went too hawkish, that is what would have happened. And even other economists are saying this. Mohammed El Iran, he's a great economist. He's usually on CNBC, and he said the same thing. He doesn't think that the economy will be able to handle any interest rates hikes. So I think we're seeing the narrative being laid here: no interest rates hikes. So what does that mean? Well, if they're not going to do that, and then the market's dipping right now, I think we're going to start to see recovery as the year progresses. Now, it also depends on how long this conflict lasts. So in the short term, guys, it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful. But in the long term, we're okay. Just like we saw with the COVID-19 crash, right? It was fear, it was panic, all markets were down, very similar to this, but it was much more, larger of a crash. And but what happened? The Fed started printing money, and we started moving back upwards, right? Both crypto and stocks and so forth. I think the same thing's going to happen here. They're not going to raise rates. They have their narrative, and inflation is what it is. They're going to blame inflation on Russia, but we know it's not because of Russia. It's because of the money printing they did during COVID, and what they've been doing for a long time with quantitative easing. So they will continue to print because there's only so much downwards that we can go before the elite class is losing a lot of their wealth. So I know I threw a lot at you guys there, but if you just look at history and you look at actions and monetary policy and who gets the bailouts and who gets the stimulus money and so forth, I think we see the picture here. And I know some people are going to say, dude, you're a conspiracy theorist now? And I'm telling you right now, I'm basing this on history and facts and how they've done things, right? And who got the PPP loans and all that during COVID. So I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be bloody in the short term. They're going to start printing again, and the assets and everything is going to go up, crypto, stocks, and so forth. Now, one thing I do want to call out and be honest with you guys about: Bitcoin is not holding up well in this situation, but gold is. Gold saw a breakout, guys. So I still think it's a little bit early, though, to say Bitcoin is not a good hedge. I still think it is, and I'm looking at it from a macro perspective. But gold obviously has hundreds of years head start ahead of Bitcoin, and a lot of folks in other parts of the world will go to gold, and we know central banks still hold gold, and gold is still a great store of value and hedge. I think Bitcoin is better from a digital standpoint because that's where we're headed. But gold, if you still have gold, that is still a good hedge, and I think that's why the price is breaking out. But I still want to see what Bitcoin does, guys. I want to give it time to prove itself. And obviously it's still a young asset when you compare it to gold. So some other news here regarding the Russia sanctions. Bloomberg is reporting Russia and its billionaires may turn to Bitcoin crypto to evade sanctions. So once again, the undertone of this invasion, guys, and why I have these theories and thesis here as to what may be happening with CBDCs and the new system that's coming. Now, CoinDesk did a great job just outlining a series of tweets, just showing what's the overall impact of what's been happening in the market. And just some quick highlights. Crypto markets saw over $242 million in liquidations in early Asian hours as markets reacted to Russian troops moving further into Ukraine that Russian President Vladimir Putin called a special military operation. So everything is down. Bitcoin tracked futures saw $72 million in liquidations, the most amongst all cryptocurrencies, followed by Ether futures at $70 million. While equities in Bitcoin are down, gold, oil, base materials, agriculture, commodities, and currency market safe havens like the US dollar and the Japanese yen are trading higher. Broadly speaking, markets are displaying the usual unease with geopolitical tensions. However, some in the crypto community may be disgruntled to see Bitcoin again missing a safe haven bid. Crypto tracked futures saw nearly $350 million in liquidation since the start of the Russian invasion. Meanwhile, Russians will be limited to conducting digital currency transactions through licensed operators. A restriction in effect renders peer-to-peer trades illegal, according to the Ministry of Finance's proposed bill. So this is interesting because they're not saying that you can't use crypto. They're just saying you need to use it through a regulated entity. The Russian bill defines digital currency as property and electronic data stored in an information system that can be used as payment while not being a legal tender in Russian Federation or as an investment tool without any entity backing it. Very interesting. The bill highlights the policy split with the Bank of Russia, which opposes regulation, would rather see cryptocurrency trading and mining banned. Now, obviously, this is what I said at the beginning of the video. Putin came out saying, no, you're not going to ban anything. Get the regulations going. And they're saying, hey, people can use digital currencies if they want. They can use crypto if they want, but it has to be through licensed operators. So you can't do peer-to-peer. So once again, the undertone here is very interesting, guys, and it involves crypto, it involves CBDCs and SWIFT, and once again, SWIFT being the old system. So, I don't know if you guys agree with me. Let me know what you think. Just an FYI, as far as what I'm doing, I'm comfortable in my position with crypto. I don't need cash where I need to sell my crypto and panic sell. I'm just holding. I'm not buying anything because I need to study the charts a bit more and see how far we're going down, but I'm still secure in my positions. I have cash. So I've always said, never put your life savings in crypto, only money you're willing to afford to lose. I'm not saying you're going to lose your money, but obviously all of our portfolios are down right now. And if you need to de-risk, certainly go ahead and sell if you need to. I'm personally not. I'm just sharing my opinion. This is not financial or investment advice. And I'm holding. I'm a long-term holder. And like I said, once we get through, the situation, the Fed will start pumping again. They're not going to raise rates. And I think markets will start to recover, just like we saw after the C19 crash, right? What happened? Recovery. Even after all of that, recovery. So same thing will happen here. Our correction, we're going to have a recovery. Markets don't stay at the top forever. Markets don't stay at the bottom forever. It's boom and bust cycles throughout the history of the world, and markets reflect that. So just keep that in mind. We had the 2008 stock market crash. We had the real estate bubble pop, the dot-com crash, right? We've had situations throughout history, but markets recover. Even after World War II, markets recovered. So you got to have a macro view. A lot of people have short-term view. They panic, they sell, and then they're like, oh crap, the price is back up. I should have held. Yeah, because unless there's some apocalyptic scenario where everything gets wiped out, markets will continue to rise. It's boom and bust cycles throughout life, right? Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, and I'll talk to you all later.